Just to show you a little bit of how resilient this thing is, I actually didn't even zip it up the last time. I just closed it down before I started recording the video, but that gap was open almost 2 feet. But there's so much air flowing into it and the bubble holds its shape so well that it didn't matter. So aside from the shelf all falling down the last time as we had a problem with, yeah, even though I had a huge gaping hole of 2 feet long, it didn't let any air out, and I imagine if I got a gash in the side of it, it would probably be about the same. So I'm still happy with this bubble. Welcome back to DuckmanCycles and VW Garage. I'm your host, the Duckman. Behind me here is Eleanore, the 1956 Chop Top Beetle. And this thing just has a gorgeous, gorgeous paint job in it. It's pretty rare that I ever get to bring her outside because this season, it rains all the damn time. And it seems like the last 3 days in a row we had a little tropical system that came out of nowhere. Nobody forecasted it, it just happened. And that's the remnants of it is what you see right now. So we currently still have some rain threat in the forecast and it's still a little bit windy. The wind is kind of nice, but the hot heat, humidity is just, it's Florida. What am I gonna say? Well, Eleanor's behind us here and we're gonna try to get this seal installed. And this particular seal is for the hood. You look at the cross section of it, it's not your typical hood seal. This is the one that they call the Mexican seal. And this came on later Mexican Beetles when they eliminated the seal from the other side. We'll show that up close as to how this works. But anyway, before you get to that, likey, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to pluck the dingle bell so you get updates every time I upload a video. If you guys would like to support me, there's now a super likes button that you'll see down below in the YouTube video there. You can click the button and you can donate $1 to me if you want. There's an option for that. You can always hit me up on Patreon. Or if you'd rather give me a gift and you want it to be tax-free, then you can hit me up on the PayPal and do it that way. So that's probably the best way if you don't want to see all the money go to corporate America somewhere. Anyways, we'll be back right after that intro. Alright, there she is, another opportunity out in the sun. We got about a 30 or 40% chance of rain today. And you know what that means, if I leave her out here long enough, she's gonna get wet. Something we need to work on is the hood and Decklid seals. The diapers are not currently on there now, but whenever I put it back in storage, I do stick them on there. So I really don't want lids chipping paint. So we're going to get to work on that today and see what we can come up with. Alright, now this is what they call the Mexican seal. This actually attaches up underneath the lip on the hood here versus going all the way around the opening for the hood. And the reason why it's called the Mexican seal is because it actually was used on older Mexican Beetles. It eliminates the whole rusty channel that usually you'll find on your Beetles here because water will get under between the layers and tends to cause a little lip to pop off. When Earl and I were working on this thing, he came across some of those lips and said, you know, what do you want to do with them? And I said, oh crap, I forgot to remove them. Get rid of them. We're going to use one of these seals because when the hood is open, it's just a whole lot more beautiful. The old stock seal starts at the holes here in the corner, runs all the way around the body, ends at the holes in the other corner, and then there's another piece that goes up and over the top underneath the hood. This will cover everything around the opening except for the top. The top portion I will have to glue in. There won't be something that I can just clip in like this. Now this I've already measured out to the appropriate size. So I should be able to just stretch it around the body. Now there's a channel on it, and it will quite literally just fold right under the lip here and get pinched. Now I've already pre-measured this, so for anybody out there that says, oh Duckman, why aren't you giving us a measurement? It's because I'm not going to, and it's probably because I don't remember what it is. So we're just gonna start by slipping it in here on this side. Now when you put a seal on like this, what you don't want to do is stretch the seal lengthwise, because if you do, what will happen is it will shrink over time, and when it shrinks, it's going to pull back on the end, so you're going to have gaps. What you want to do is wad it together if you can, so that way when it shrinks, you won't notice it quite so much. These things go together pretty easily. just work that opening right over that little sheet metal lip. The hardest part is that the part you haven't attached yet, it's going to spin around and cause it to twist or bunch up as you get towards the ends of it here. As you're putting this on, you might feel like there's some lumps in it. That usually means it's not seated all the way, so just pull a little harder on the lump and then it'll go away. Now we're nice and smooth. There's a little lump there, there it goes. And we'll cut up around the edge here. As I said, I like the appearance of this seal much more than the stock one from the German Beetles. This one was actually an improvement. And this seal, I didn't buy it from one of the reputable Volkswagen companies like CIP1 or somebody, because everybody was out of stock when I tried to order this thing. I guess it was a part of the whole 2020 madness, and I ended up taking some measurements for myself and ordering something from an industrial catalog instead, which I honestly believe is the same thing. Now, there's really nothing to installing this seal. What I like about this seal also is that it kind of hides your boo-boos and mistakes in your hood fitment. Now, Earl didn't make any mistakes here, but rather this car had been hit, so there were less mistakes that needed to be fixed. Alright, that should just about get it. Now be honest with me, doesn't it look better with no seal here on the lower section? It looks good bare naked. I would not want to change that, even though it's beyond the Volkswagen design. This is not how it's meant to be. I rather like the way it turned out. And the seal lives up under here instead. And I don't know if you can tell from the color contrast. There it goes. The lighting had to adjust a little bit. It's like we got a spot under here somewhere that needs to be seated. The camera could pick it up, but I didn't see it with my own eyes. Now the other great thing about this is this sheet metal here tends to catch clothing. It'll rip the hole in the back of a shirt, especially if you're getting a little sharper broken edges. This seal covers all that, so no more catching your shirt or getting cut on a damn lip while you're up under the hood like this. I don't know, can you guys even see? You know what I mean? You're under here and you brush on this thing, and it happens to me all the time. I cut a hole in my shirt and then I scream out a lot of foul language. Alright, now for the $64,000 question. Let's see how the hood fits with the seal on. It's nice not having a diaper under it anymore. Actually, that's not bad. Not bad at all. Right in here we got a little bit of a gap, but when I push down on it, that's how the clasp would be pulling it, right in here. That's pulling tight. So I think we're going to be good in that department. Yeah, that should be good to go. Alright, the front seal looks pretty good. I just need to get that latch in there, and that will pull that gap tight. As Earl always says, rubber trumps metal. In this case, this is a very, very soft, spongy rubber. So this will actually squish quite easily. And it should seal nice and tight in all the tight places, and it'll spring up in all the places where there's a little bit of a gap. So it should fit just fine. I don't see why. And in the rear here, this deck lid is one of my dirty little secrets when I built this car. Because once I cut that roof down, and yes, the back actually is lowered, and it's lowered quite a bit, a good 2-3 inches. You don't really see it though, because I cut into the engine compartment. The entire engine compartment has been dropped about 2 or 3 inches down. And I don't know what, because I pretty much played it by freestyle. As Earl says, you know, measurements matter not. It all depends on what the car looks like. And when I got the car to look like I wanted to, I just went with it. But what that did was that dropped the entire deck lid down. So the deck lid sits a little lower on the rear apron than it ordinarily would on a Beetle. So if you look at another 56 Beetle, you'll notice that deck lid is considerably higher. And what that meant, because the angles had changed, it left a gap up underneath the bottom of the deck lid. See? It's actually almost a finger gap right here in the bottom in the middle. Now I can push down on it and I can get it a lot closer, but you don't want metal on metal to fit in all the high spots, because what it's going to do is it's going to rub the paint off. So we've got another Mexican seal to go on the back here on the deck lid just the same way. And I think that'll seal everything up the way I want it. And then I shouldn't need a diaper on this thing anymore. All right, opening this up. This has also been cut to size. Again, I'm not telling you how big it is, because it's one of those things that you're going to have to discover for yourself if you're going to be installing the same seal on your deck lid. Besides, not all deck lids are created the same. You may have a 67 or you may have a later one, and those are smaller and would use a different size seal. This goes on the same way. Okay, let's get him tucked in here. Again, when you put this seal on, try to pinch it together. Because the more you can crush it together, the less it's gonna shrink. Don't stretch it, because it will pull closed and shrink itself up. If you put one of these seals on and you have trouble with it coming back off, you can use a little contact cement on it. Now mind you, if you do use contact cement, you get about one try to fit it properly. If you don't get it right, and I admit, and I would suggest that you pre-fit it before putting your glue on. But once you've got it fitted, and then you try to take it back off and it has the glue, you're just gonna have to redo the glue. Now, once again, doesn't that black on green look a whole lot nicer? And I'll admit, the seal just makes the car look more finished. And again, that lip, the factory lip that would ordinarily be on here, has all been stripped off and removed. It's like I see a little scuff mark over here. I'll have to address that. Might be just a boogie. Okay. Well, let's see how it closes. Alright, here goes. Love it. Just a fluff sound, no more metal on metal. Okay, once the lid is closed and it pulls down on here, you see that seal now sits tight all the way around. Now I'm going to have to work on where the latch attaches to, because it is not going to be in a factory location, because the entire deck lid fits lower than it used to. So where the latch catch used to install on these bolts, it's probably going to be down here somewhere. So what I'll probably do is make an adapter and run it into the same factory holes, because the intent here again is to make it look like it was factory. At the same time, I got to put the little rubber bumpers in these holes too, just to finish it up and make it look done. Attention to detail, right guys? Love it how it just closes with a no clang, no doing, just a and that idiot across the street's yelling again. He drives the biggest little dick man truck that I've ever seen in my life. Typically he just sits in it, he rolls the window down, and he just starts screaming at his workers. And when he wants to get their attention, he pulls the damn air horn. While he's sitting in the truck, at $6 a gallon for diesel. He just enjoys the air conditioner. I don't know what he's doing in there. Maybe paperwork. Maybe I'm misjudging the guy. I mean, you don't get a truck that big without having, you know, $100,000+ to buy one. I mean, I guess you can get one used, but that's Lamborghini money. That truck is expensive, but I don't care. He doesn't use it for anything you think you would use a big truck like that for typically. Just, I don't know. I'm gonna work on the front. I'm gonna have to lift it up. Much better on my back. Alright. This is the hood release. This is the original piece from Eleanore. It appears that it's broken. Earl did a pretty good job of unseizing it, but there's a component that's inside of there that's not doing what it's supposed to do. I suppose I could bust it open and try to fix it, but I didn't have to because I got a new one. I just wish that it was more of a silvery color. I suppose I could just paint it black and have it match everything else on this car, but everything is there, and I don't have to dick with it if I just use this. Now, the interesting thing about these is they have a cable that goes into them, so when you pull the cable, that's what releases the hood. But what happens if the cable breaks? Does the hood stay latched? Well, actually, this is interesting in that it has to have a little bit of tension on it, and you see the little half moon coming in from the side? Just a little bit of tension. So when you install these, you got to pull that cable snug and give it just a little bit pull past that, and then tighten it down onto your pull release. Then once you pull it past that point, it would then release it. It's just interesting how that works. So it fails to open position. Just really interesting, real simple design, not much else to it otherwise. But the cable gets threaded right into here. There's a little screw on the side, which, why did the idiots put it in at that angle? No, they didn't. It rotates. The screw was like all up under. You couldn't get to it. I like that the holdfast is already there though. I don't have to install something else on it, which I don't think this has. No, it does have a threaded screw on it. That actually worked the same way. All right, well, anyway, we're gonna install this sucker on here. Now, the earlier style front aprons, and this is a 4T apron. I don't know if anybody else calls it that. But the front apron on here has 4-letter T's on it. There's the 4-letter T's, 4 capital T's. This actually was a remanufacture of a restamped piece. So what I did was I took the apron and I added 4 T's to it, essentially, just to make it look period correct for a 1956 Beetle. Here comes that in that truck again. Yeah, look at the size of that thing. Come on, guys, really? Who needs a truck like that? Anyway, you see there's 3 holes in it. But the earlier Beetles did use a 4-hole receiver, so I'm going to have to drill 2 holes on this side. And man, I hate drilling in Earl's paint and bodywork, but it's going to have to be done. It's not really a big deal, I guess, because it needs to be there. And then that 3rd hole, or which would be the 5th hole now, is just going to get ignored because, well, you're never going to see it anyway. It's going to get all covered up. Alright, first thing I got to do is I got to widen up these holes because the bolts don't go through these holes. They're just a little too small, or maybe Earl got some paint in them or something, but yeah, actually there's some paint right there that's flaked out as a piece. There you go, here's a souvenir for somebody. Anybody want Eleanore paint chip? Alright, and then the last one on this side, it actually is paint in the hole also. It's also like a paint chip. I'm not going to chip it out, I'm just going to leave it alone. Alright, these 2 holes, leave alone. We're just going to have to widen them up a little bit. Really just a matter of getting some of the paint out of it. Oh man, that hurt me. Just having to see that done. Now my little Allen head bolts are what's gonna go through these holes here. These I always forget the damn name. Crackhead screws or something. Caphead, or yeah, crackhead screws. That's what they are from now on. These are now officially crackhead screws. So we're gonna take my crackhead screw, make sure it fits in the hole, and it does. Very good. Alright. So I probably should put some masking tape on this rather than doing what I'm doing like a damn idiot, because I'm probably going to scratch the living shit out of this thing if I don't do that. I'm not used to working on something with nice paint. Usually it just doesn't matter. Alright, that ought to get it. Now take this here. And we'll start hanging it in place. These look just so much nicer than standard hex head bolts, and because they are stainless, they will outlive the rest of the car. Now this car is currently 66 years old, and if it lives to see another 66 years, and I'm around to see it, that would make me 110. So I won't be around, but whoever owns this car after me, I would hope would take care of it. Alright, I think that's about right. Again, as Earl said, don't bother with the measurements. Go by what looks right. And I think that's it. And that's about where we're going to want to drill our holes on the right-hand side. So let's go ahead and make some marks and then get us set. Okay. I've already center punched these holes on the right-hand side. You can see them right there and right there. Hope this bit is sharp enough. Very nice. Now those holes, I do need to chase with some paint to make sure that they don't rust themselves out again. I also have to deburr them on the back side. What I'll do to deburr them is I'll just put a drill bit in there. I'll run it in by hand. I don't need to run a file or anything on it because there is paint on the back side. I don't want to chew up. I'm going to come back and chase all these holes with some paint. For now, I just want to make sure everything fits before I put any paint on it. It's not going to make a whole lot of sense to paint it now, only to have to modify it again later, if you know what I mean. The other reason why I still have tape on it while I'm doing the fitment here. Guy's yelling across the street out of his truck again. Thinking I probably should put some big fender washers on the back side. You know, some ones like that. I took that out here because I want to get a good look at it. And no, you know what? There's too many contours on the back here. If I put a big washer on there like that, it's going to deform the apron when I tighten it down. That is a no-no. Alright, again, we got one more. And now we get to make adjustments. Whoopee! Duckman, did you know you could strip bolts out with an impact? Alright. The alignment on that looks pretty good. I think I'm going to loosen this up and pull the tape out. I don't think I need to move that. Yeah, it looks pretty good as it sits. Yep, I wouldn't move that from where it's at. Unless I have to. I might have to recenter it or something, but either way, it's in the right spot. Now, in this receiver is where the latch dick goes. This part here, I have a brand new one actually up under the hood. You can see it way up under there. I couldn't find Eleanor's original part, and then when I finally did, I sent it off to Earl. And I called it the hood latch dick, and Earl decided to illustrate there with a Sharpie. But I mean, you look at it, and that's what it looks like. It's got a little head on the end of it. And then there's, sometimes it's slotted on the end, so you can put a screwdriver in and you can adjust the length of it. This is how we're going to affect how the hood closes down onto those new seal. So this is the adjustment we're going to have to make. Okay, well, this is latched in the open position as we discussed. And if I close the hood, it will not, or at least should not, close and get stuck on it. If it does, then we have a disaster. But let's just see what happens. It's in it. Uh-oh. Nope. It's catching in it. It's definitely where it needs to be. Good news is I think my dick is long enough. But because of how it's catching on here, probably going to have to play with the alignment of it a little bit. But nonetheless, it is there. That is good. I need to run a cable for this thing and get it set up properly. But now we have a latch. Yeah, I think that's going to work out nicely. I may have to change the angle and how the hood dick goes into this doodad down here, because everything is, I think, off a little bit, because it clicks in and it shouldn't. It shouldn't. It actually puts up a little bit of a fight to get it back open again. So I think it's getting caught on the top end. So anyway, it's nothing that an adjustment can't fit. They click and I have to lift it from the bottom to get it open. Well, you know what? I can lift it from the hood handle. Well, I guess that's okay. Alright, well, that's a step in the right direction. I'm happy with that. Definitely so. Still might shorten my dick up a little bit though, so that way it clasps on there a little tighter than that. Okay, as I was saying, up here on the latch dick, this is the dick. I said some of them have a little slot on the end, and you can actually turn it just like that. And you can loosen it or tighten it. I had to turn it about, I don't know, 6 turns or so. I had to shorten up my dick quite a bit because it wasn't pulling in the hood tight enough against the receiver, but now it is. So check this out. Now check out the hood gap. Pretty uniform, not too bad. Yeah, see? The seal is all nice and tight the whole way around. Under the bottom here, this side looks even better. And there it is, sealed up. Now I need to do the same with the rear, but I haven't figured out how I want to do that yet. That one I'm going to have to actually make something for. But we'll come back to that. Right now, rain is in the forecast, and that means Eleanor has got to come back inside. It's also Taco Tuesday, so I'll be going out for some tacos on this rainy day. Meanwhile, there's Eleanore. Man, so happy to see that closing properly. And then there's my stupid stool. The one that doesn't roll in a straight line. Yeah, it works good. Closing, just give it a little bump and it closes down the way it should. Of course, once I got the cable on there, that catch will work better. And it might even hold it a little bit tighter. I guess we'll see. If not, I'll make an adjustment on the dick. But now I have a properly opening, closing, and latching hood.
Well, I told you so, didn't I? It's been pretty much raining for the last several days non-stop. Anyways, as always, you guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to pluck the dingle belly so you get updates every time I upload a video. Check out my website, duckshit.net, so you can see all of my different social media links. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time.